Okay, from here what we need to do is go back to our run plan, hit create plan, and go back to align. So now we're going to add a 3-point alignment. So I'm just going to call this align. We can turn it off in our reporting if we want to, or we can leave it on. And then we'll turn our dependence on to point 1, point 2, and point 3. So we'll go ahead and add this. And in our run plan, I'm going to go ahead and bring this alignment above everything other than these 3 points. Okay, so now when we go in and do our alignment, we can use these 3 points as our origin, our X direction, and our Y direction, and everything will shift off of that. So we'll go in and hit File, Clear All Measurements to go ahead and clear all of our measurements, and then hit Measure All to go ahead and go through our measurement routine again. So I'm going to measure point 1, which I'll just call the corner of this block. So we'll just take 1 point. Point 2, which will go in the X direction. Point 3 will be a point in the Y direction. And right now we're just working off of 3 points. As you notice, we have quite a few different options for doing alignments. This is just the basics. So I highly encourage you to go in and play around with the different methods of aligning inside of MiGage. Alright, so now that we've gone ahead and ran through our full report, or our full measurement process, we can go to the reporting, and now if you notice as I refresh this, we'll see all those values changed. So now all of our X, Y, Z values have changed in orientation to the block. So now we have a lot more useful information that we can interpret because we are able to set up our origin exactly as we would have it on our blueprints. Now the next thing that we will go into is we have the ability to create macros. You can take a look at that. But the other more important thing that we'll cover here in this particular tutorial series is the ability to create probes and probe offsets. So with most of the M series microscribes and even on G series microscribes, you have the ability to use a spherical probe, which if you went through the Muse tutorial videos, which I highly recommend going through, that will be explained a little bit more in detail there as far as the theory behind using spherical probes. But we'll show you here in MiGage, you have the ability to set up your probe offsets. So inside of setup, we can come in and tell it the probe diameter. For this instance, we're using a 3mm probe, and our offset is set up by adding a new probe, editing that probe, and measuring that offset. So if we go into the probe, we can hit measured and then measure the probe. So to do this, we will need a conical divot just like in Muse, and we have the ability to take multiple points and do that editing.